All right, this was a little bit overdue, but I finally got it. Passed Security Plus yesterday. Just got the results today. So I'm going to be doing a quick video on how to pass Security Plus. So let's get to it. So quick overview. First, you just type in CompTIA Security Plus overview, and then just right here, Security Plus certification. And then here it'll tell you the exam objectives. There's 5 domains, and then it tells you like what percentage those domains make up on the actual exam. Um, yeah, I'm not going to read this. You guys can look over it. Tells you price, and if you want, additional perks, then what the prices of those would be for. I only just bought the voucher itself. It's kind of a psychological thing. I didn't want to take the retake assurance because then it's kind of giving me that psychological factor of like, oh, I'm anticipating that I could fail. Whereas I don't want to. It kind of like shot my confidence a little bit. I like to go into the exam not even really being worried about failing. I'm just saying I'm going to pass. I don't need to buy reassurance. But that's just me. Some career paths you can take that might open up to you as you get the certification. And then, oh, here we go. So then, yeah, here's the standard, right? 90 minutes. You get a maximum of 90 questions. Could be less, though. It probably will be less. And then passing score is 750 from a scale of 100 to 900. So that's 800 possible points you can get. So you're expected to get 650 points out of a possible 800. I scored a 786. I did the calculations. 650 divided by 800 is 81.25%. So that's the passing score. It's just over 80%. I got a 786, so that resulted in like a 85%, something like that. Skills learned. Boom. All right. So got that out of the way. Scheduler exam. All you got to do is just type in, CompTIA schedule exam. Once you click on the first link, it tells you straight up what you got to do, and it's pretty self-explanatory. At which point you'll be taken to this page, and then schedule, manage exams. And I always get this page, but it's kind of annoying. But yeah, just save updates to your user information. And then here, schedule exams. It's pretty straightforward from here. And then view score reports. It usually takes about a day. For me, it took about a day to get the actual thing. Like originally, it just said that you passed. And where's the score at? Here we go, right here. So passing score was 750. My score was 786. And yeah, that's that. So that's a quick overview on that. Now let's talk about, what I'm sure you guys actually came here to see, which is how to actually pass this. All right, so here I'm just going to go over, um, how to actually pass the test, what resources I used, as well as how long it took me. So to start off, background, I have zero background in cybersecurity or IT in general. I'm currently trying to transition into the field. The only background I really did have was a cybersecurity course that I took through study.com as part of my CS degree. But apart from that, that's pretty much it. As for how long it took me about a month and a week. So like 5 weeks. Somewhere between 5 and 6 weeks, how long it took me to pass. A lot of that was influenced because I was in the middle of transitioning out of the army, so it was kind of hectic for me. But regardless, it was about a month plus a week. And that was with me studying about 3 hours a day, fairly every single day. Now, as for what resource I used this book from Cibex, CompTIA Security Plus Study Guide by David Seidel and Mike Chappell. And then along with that, I bought these two books together. Along with that, this book of just practice tests. The study guide also has practice tests at the end of each chapter, so those are great as well. Now, as for how similar the questions are to the real exam, they were fairly similar in difficulty and in wording. So These are definitely a good gauge of how ready you are for the exam. So strongly recommend both of those materials. Um, Try to aim for 90%. If you can get 90% on one of these exams, then I'd say you're straight. And if on a bad day, you can still get like 85%, you're good. I also bought Professor Messer's practice exams, and I actually like those too, just because those had performance-based questions built into the tests, whereas these only have multiple choice, unfortunately. So I would recommend his tests as well. They're fairly similar to the real exam, and same thing, try to aim for 90%. So one other thing I used was CyberKraft's videos on YouTube. So I watched all of his performance-based question videos, and that's pretty much it in terms of resources. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Typically, the ideal study plan is a video course, um, a book, and then some sort of hands-on practice. But I skipped the hands-on on this one, unfortunately, but it's all right. It all worked out. But ideally, you want your study plan to be, a video, book, and some sort of hands-on. And oh yeah, so when it comes to the performance-based questions, for me, those were rough. On my actual exam experience, those were pretty tough. In my case, for me, I got four, but it varies. Like from what I've heard, some people only get three. I've heard some people get up to five. It really does vary. But for me, I got four, and I'd say two of them were fairly easy. One of them was moderate, and then one of them was really difficult. I don't want to say what the PBQs are just because it's so unpredictable. Like I could get something, and then everyone else could get PBQs that are completely different. But the best thing is just to make sure you understand everything in the domains, and you'll be straight. That's one thing I will say is that you're not gonna get tested on anything that's outside of the what's listed in the five domains for the exam objectives. And unfortunately, when it comes to CyberKraft's PBQ videos, none of his videos, and I think there was like 20, I watched all 20 of them. None of his videos when it comes to PBQs had anything to do with the PBQs that I got on my actual exam, unfortunately. But that's not necessarily a knock on him. That's just how predictable CompTIA exams are when it comes to PBQs. Is that you have no idea what you have no idea what to expect on those. That's not really on him. What I liked about his PBQs is that he gives you a really good methodology on how to approach them and tackle those PBQs and how to think through them and work through them. So I would still recommend watching those for sure. But yeah, those were the resources I used. I didn't buy Jason Diaz's practice exams. I hear a lot about him, only because on Reddit, because I would go on Reddit, before buying a practice exam product, just to see what other people think about it. And a lot of people said that they're not very good. They're far too wordy compared to the real exam, and that they test you on a lot of things that are outside of scope. So that's why I didn't buy his exams. But that being said, I can't speak on it personally because I didn't actually use them. So yeah, that's everything for the resources that I used. Again, I was studying about 3 hours a day, and it took me about 5 weeks to pass it. So as far as my actual experience, the experience was fairly smooth. You get the performance-based questions at the beginning, and then yeah, I skipped those immediately. Like I read over them real quick just to get an idea of what I'm going up against, but then I immediately just moved on to the multiple choice. When it comes to the actual questions, um, and CyberKraft made a great video on this on I'll link that in the description as well, on how to answer CompTIA questions. It's really good to read the question, read the answers, and then reread the question again to really make sure you understand the keywords for sure. Because that's what a lot of CompTIA questions are based off of, are those keywords. And then if you are stuck on a question, answer it anyways, like give your best guess, flag it, and then come back to it for sure. I would strongly discourage, and this is something I struggled with when I was doing the practice tests. I'd strongly discourage you to read the question and then immediately answer the first option that you think is right and move on. because I got a lot of questions wrong on this book from doing that. So yeah, I'll link that video in the description though, because it's really good to have that methodology on how to answer these questions. And yeah, I think I ended up flagging about 6 or 7. I'd come back to it and then yeah, just reread them. And I did the PBQs last because those are gonna take you time for sure. But again, you could have a maximum of 90 questions. I didn't get 90 questions, but yeah, typically the 90 minutes is enough time for sure. I finished with about 15 minutes to spare. And yeah, that's all I got to say about Security Plus. Any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them.